Hello, music lovers. My name is Carter, and welcome to my channel. As of recording this, I don't know what my channel is called. I don't know if I'll ever find a name. But for those that don't know me, as stated, my name's Carter. I'm an album reviewer, movie reviewer, very distinguished guy. People come to me, they're like, "That's the guy you need to go to if you need an album review. He's the guy." And I started doing album reviews on Instagram. I did a little story post about probably like late 2023, and I've been doing them since, and everyone's been asking me to migrate them to a more public audience. So that's what this channel's for. I might do movie reviews too, but mainly just album reviews. I'm sorry if I sound tired. I had a court date yesterday, and they were trying to prosecute me for having too much swagger. I never stood a chance. That's a joke. It was really over human trafficking. But a little bit about me. I'm a producer, a songwriter. Not the best yet. I'm still learning the craft. However, with my album reviews, I feel like me being a producer or a songwriter at least helps in a sort of manner because I'm able to distinguish usually what an audience looks for. And I'm able to understand the genres because I don't make music for just one genre. I make it for multiple genres. So I'm able to know, like, well, this is the sort of thing that this audience would like. This is the sort of thing this audience won't like. And every time I've done an album review, almost every time I like review an album, and I'm like, these are my favorite songs on the album because it's like these are the songs I think appeal most towards that fan base. They always end up being the fan base's most favorite songs usually. So I guess I guess I know what I'm talking about. I don't know. But yeah, my album reviews, which is the main point for this channel, will be on a scale 1 to 10. 1 being the worst album you've ever heard. I'm talking like crappy SoundCloud type albums. And a 10 being one of the best albums you've ever heard. So 1 to 10. And that's a wide range, like the worst album to best album ever, leaving a lot to where there can be overlap. So I do my albums, I rate it by intervals of 0.25. So 7.25, 7.5, 7.75, 8. That way there's not too much overlap or albums aren't sharing scores that shouldn't be sharing scores. But because the range for the bad is so low, that means that most professionally produced albums should be at least a 5 at the very least. So it's really like we're working like a 5 to 10 range for the most part. I condemn. Yeah, condemn. That's the right word. I condemn human trafficking. And I guess I should go and get into what I think makes a great album. As a guy who's who's working on an album. Even though, again, I want to preface, I'm not the best. I'm not like a Kendrick Lamar, Kanye West, or some like great, or I'm not Pink Floyd. I'm not like some amazing album creator yet. But I think I do generally understand what makes a good album. And in my opinion, a good album is a combination of substance and composition. So substance being how great are the songs on the album, and composition being how well does the album flow from start to finish. Does it have a good start to finish? Is the middle a development? Does it develop in sound? Does it develop in emotion? Maybe by key signature it develops in a certain way. But how does the mood of the album develop? How do the themes develop? And how does it flow? Does this track coming after this track, does that work? Does it make sense? And those two ideas, flow, composition, and substance are what make a good album. It's like a movie. Like a movie, you don't just like a movie because it has a bunch of great shots. The Tron movie that everyone hated, that came out maybe 2000s, 2010s, I don't remember. But it had a lot of great scenes. Like, it looked cool, but it wasn't a good movie.
I'm sorry, Clue. I'm sorry.
And that's sort of a similar thing with album reviews. Like, you can be like, well, this album has 2 good songs that are really awesome, but it doesn't make it a great album. You know, a great album has substance, composition, both of them. And that's sort of the barometer, or that's the standard. A great example for, like flow in an album, having transition in between tracks, or at least the album making sense in the way it flows, or sound development. Sound development is awesome. A good example of like great sound development would be like In the Airplane Over the Sea by Neutral Milk Hotel, where you can tell like how the sound goes from like a certain point at the beginning to a great spot in the next track, and then it chills out for a minute, and then it develops to this big thematic point, and it's all purposeful. A good album is inspired as well. It doesn't sound like it was created just for the fun of it. It sounds like it has some form of inspiration to it. It has a reason to exist, and that's the gist of it. I needed to explain that. It won't make sense now if this is the first video you're watching, but if you've seen my other videos that are later to come out, you're watching this at a later date, and you've seen my album reviews, I needed to preface my standard, or how I'm rating these things. And when I do my album reviews, I review each track individually. So I get a score for each track, and then I think about my thoughts after the album has done. And that way I can remember my thoughts on each track, but also that way I can measure the substance. I can average out all the scores of each track, and I can get like my substance rating. And then after combine that with my thoughts of the album personally, which I usually give more weight to because I feel like my substance review is more subject towards subjectivity to a certain extent. And then I combine those, and that's where I get my album reviews. And I'm going to be filming my first album review tonight or tomorrow. It'll be uploaded soon, within the next 3 days, hopefully. I have a wide variety of music I listen to, but it's mainly everything rock. I'm talking alt rock, alt metal, metal, power metal, alternative rock, post grunge, grunge, glam. I'm talking like the whole charade, classic rock, the whole charade for rock. And then pop, and then I'm talking like pop EDM, that whole charade, and then rap, gangster rap, hip hop, modern rap, the whole charade for rap. Not a lot of country. There's a couple of country artists I listen to. Not a whole lot of country. I might delve into it at some point, and indulge myself in a bit of a country. But we usually stay to rap, pop, and rock mostly. And I started out as a classic rock guy, but I've moved towards those genres. I also like indie. I should mention that indie rock, more indie stuff. I'm really a big fan of too. But I want to state this because I don't watch a lot of album review channels. I don't know what they do, what makes each one different. But I have seen maybe like 3 album reviews max, 3 or 4. And a lot of times I notice that a lot of these people, they infuse their political beliefs with their album reviews to a certain extent. They'll be like, well, I love this Kendrick Lamar album because it talks about a topic which I really love in a great way that I agree with. Or I hate this Kendrick Lamar album because it talks about this thing and I disagree with him. Or I hate this Kanye album because he talks about this thing. Or I love this Kanye album because he talks about this thing. Or, I hate Taylor Swift because she loves, I don't know, Joe Biden or something. Or I love Taylor Swift because she loves progressive causes and Joe Biden. It's like, I'm not going to let political beliefs. I'm a political guy. I'm a Catholic, Christian. But I'm not going to let that infuse and have anything to do with my album reviews. My album reviews are specifically for the music itself. That needs to be said because There's a lot of people that can't say that from what I've seen, and that's not very good. It's not very good. So I guess that'll do for my intro. I still don't know what this channel is going to be called. This setup I just developed. It's going to have a bit of work done to it. This isn't the end of the setup, but I really like the beginning here. I'm also an avid CD collector as well. I want to find a way to get like a shelf and put some of my CDs up here because I have a ton of CDs. And real quick before I close out, I also wanted to say I'm trying my best, absolute hardest to, and from what my experience of doing album reviews, I've been successful with this, to cut out all personal bias for any artist completely. Like, for example, I really did not like Taylor Swift, and then I did an album review, and I'll publish this later. I'll publish the album review later because I did it on Instagram. But I did an album review, and I was very positive on her albums. So, or at least the ones I reviewed. I didn't review her whole discography, but the ones I reviewed, I was very positive on. So I'm not really coming at this from a place of bias. This is really like if you want a place to know, why, like what does this audience think about this album, and how does it rate and compare to other albums. This is the channel to come to. And if you want great comedy from a great looking guy, this is also the channel to come to. If you want to just stare at me, listen to my voice while you go to sleep, this is the channel to come to. So, I guess tune in. I haven't done an outro yet, so I'm going to figure out, how I'm going to do this outro. But subscribe if you want, and tune in for more. We have an album review coming very soon. I can't wait to show you guys what I can do. Bye-bye. Condemn. Yeah, condemn. That's the right word. I condemn human trafficking.